For all y'all out there who've ever played a lot of different games, you know that there's something special to the realization that a game you're currently playing is smoothly blending multiple genres you love into one complete package, and Mandragora does exactly that. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and welcome back to the channel.
This world fell to the forces of darkness.
Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including my coverage of action RPGs such as Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree, then a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Also, it is very important that I thank both Primal Game Studio, the developer of Mandragora, as well as their publisher Knight's Peak for sponsoring this video. It is always a pleasure to be able to cover a new title that blends a bunch of genres I very much enjoy into one complete package, and Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree has been a lovely experience from what I've seen thus far that does exactly that. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all of you for watching and liking as well. If at any point during this video you are at all interested in picking up Mandragora, you can find that it is available on PC, PS5, and the Xbox series of consoles, so you are more than likely able to pick it up on the platform of your choice. So, of course, what is Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree? This is a side-scrolling action RPG that at first I was expecting to be very Hollow Knight, very Castlevania, and while it is those things, it also is very FromSoft Dark Souls action RPG, which of course is something that is very much of interest to me. You have a stamina bar, HP, MP, a massive amount of different skills that you can potentially wind up learning, which we will talk about in a second, because boy, that one hit me in the face in a very good way. As well as, of course, combat mechanics, different types of enemies, a dark and dreary yet very compelling environment, and a story that feels like it's definitely punching above its weight class in terms of the ways that it's subverted my expectations right off of the bat. There's a lot to love here, and we're going to dive right in. I hope that you all enjoy. As someone who's fairly new to the Metroidvania genre, this was a refreshing take on what I've seen thus far, and for someone who enjoys ARPGs, there was a lot to love here, as well as some MMO trappings that we'll talk about as we get further into the video. Getting right into the story, you are an inquisitor for the quote-unquote king priest, with all of the implications that entails, who needs to strike down various witches and dark entities who are threatening the kingdom that you serve. Now, what's interesting here is, as you would expect with all the implications therein, you'd be, a paladin, a holy knight-errant, or someone who's otherwise zealously loyal to the priest king, and as such will do whatever they ask. However, as you will quickly learn as the intro cinematic plays, we actually have a little bit more free will than that and actually strike down a being that was being interrogated by the king priest himself. Yet even then, despite what you would think would be a heresy or some sort of very unwelcome action, the king priest actually forgives us and just sends us on another mission. Definitely not just because we absorbed the essence of the witch and are now a being that is wholly different to anything that the kingdom has seen before. No. In that vein, there's going to be a lot of fighting that you have to do, and this is where the main gameplay loop of Mandragora comes in. You have to manage your stamina, you have to time attacks, you have to block, dodge, use spells effectively, etc. to overcome all the various different enemies that you're going to encounter, and it's not just bosses that are going to threaten you. From the common bandit, to bats, to demons, to all sorts of weird enemies wielding all sorts of uncouth weaponry and magic. There's going to be a lot of different things you have to throw yourself against, even in the early aspects of the game, and it keeps overall combat and gameplay feeling very fresh. This is, of course, helped by the fact that you do have a wide variety of combat styles and character classes that you can choose from when you are first building your character, and I have to say that I'm very impressed with the options that are on hand. I chose to play as a sort of paladin-esque, holy magic bonk stick wielding woman, but you have a lot of variety in terms of just standard warriors, thieves, healers, elemental mages, etc. that run the gamut of standard types of different fantasy classes that you would expect in a title like this, but who play a little differently from what you might expect due to the side-scrolling Metroidvania nature of the game. For me, wielding light magic and a big bonkin' stick, I had a lot of skills that were very reliant on me dealing damage to wind up dealing a big burst of damage at the end of a certain number of combos, while also being able to regenerate health and mana, and also be able to apply some AoE smite damage when and where I felt it was necessary. It was a very mana-hungry class, but also one that felt like I wasn't particularly vulnerable in melee, and while my overall physical damage was not the best, I did have big bursts of damage that made it feel like I was evening out with some more standard melee classes that wouldn't have the overall versatility of magic that I had available to me, which was very, very nice. I didn't have the chance to check out all the different classes, but I do get the sense that they would all play very differently, in part due to the absolutely massive skill trees that you can see on offer here. When I say that I was overwhelmed the first time I leveled up and saw all 6 of these skill trees laid out before me, that would be an understatement. However, I very quickly realized that there was one particular tree that I was able to level through due to the skills and class that I had chosen, with other trees becoming available later on as I further leveled up, which definitely helped even out the learning curve a little bit and helped me appreciate as a build crafter how many different options would be available to me as I progressed through the game. As far as the overall game difficulty is concerned, there's definitely some major challenge here. I'm no slouch when it comes to ARPGs. I've played every Souls game that has ever existed for the most part, and I've enjoyed all of them. I've spent a lot of time in them. I'm not a stranger to challenge, and yet there are definitely times where Mandragora had me gritting my teeth and going white knuckle on my controller. In particular, the first major boss, this werewolf-looking fellow with the blood knives, proved a significant challenge for me, as there were just certain times where he and his second phase clone would absolutely wipe the floor with me, send me back to the checkpoint, and leave me wondering, is there an item or a skill or something that I need to be using here to give myself a better opportunity? But no, as it turns out, and the old adage goes, sometimes you just gotta get good, knuckle down, and defeat the boss. And that's where I really enjoy what Mandragora is offering here. I really enjoyed the challenge and the exploration that I saw here, and based just on trailers and other gameplay that I've seen from other creators, there is a ton of variety here in terms of gameplay, combat, exploration, etc. that you're going to have to be able to contend with. And that is absolutely vital in a game like this. You can have a great art style, player build crafting, soundtrack, and NPC writing as much as you want, but if that core gameplay loop isn't satisfying, then you're going to wind up falling flat on your face, and it feels like Mandragora has that locked in spades. In a genre where the dark fantasy action RPG idea is so oversaturated, it's really nice to see a game like this that's incorporating different ideas from other genres to make itself feel fresh. And that's where we have to look at things like the itemization system, right? Now, I'm not a huge MMO player, but I've played a fair bit of Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft Classic, and as such, the itemization here felt very familiar. You've got different colors of gear, different rarities that have either different stats or different abilities associated with them, and you can acquire and equip all of those different gear sets, all of those different items to customize your character the way that you want in a way that will suit the build that you're going for, especially in terms of your class. As you defeat enemies or open treasure chests, you will find new items, new crafting materials, new pieces of gear that you can either immediately equip or bring back to camp and hand to your blacksmith to be able to craft stuff over time, and it gives you a definite sense of character progression and equipment scaling that is very, very vital if you're going to go for a game like this, where it's not just a static, you find a power up in terms of this particular boss's area that you either use to beat that boss, or that is going to be vital in getting to the next boss as you explore the map. Not how things work here. You are definitely working towards a build, and as someone who is very menuing and numbers focused, I love having a build that I can work towards. All in all, I was very surprised by what Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree has on offer here. There's a lot of different systems and inspirations and genres packed into one package here. It scratches a number of different itches simultaneously that I didn't think would really be able to be scratched simultaneously, and I always have to give props to a dev that is able to combine a bunch of different flavors together and yet have a meal come out on the other side that is very satisfying and can stand amongst the more simple, standard contemporaries that we are all used to. If you are at all interested in checking out Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree, I'll have a link to the Steam page in the description down below. I highly encourage you to go check it out if you're at all interested. There's a lot of fun here for anyone who's a fan of Metroidvanias, action RPGs, or overall exploration combat games like your Metroids, your Castlevanias, and your Hollow Knights. And I say that with confidence despite being a relatively recent convert to the genre. If you have any thoughts about this game, any experience with its combat, its gameplay, anything like that, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear about it from you, as I definitely plan to check out more of this in my own free time. And until the next time, my name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other, y'all. Bye now.